How's everybody doing?
Good.
Really good? Awesome. This is the clicker?
Yep.
Perfect. So what are we doing at Tive? We're helping companies take surprise out of the supply chain. But before we dive into deep into what we're actually doing, let me tell a little bit about the founders. We're a company here based in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We're a team of 11 people. On Monday we'll be 12. My name is Krenar Komoni. I'm the founder and CEO, and my co-founder is Rob Stevens. My background is primarily in engineering, RF and wireless communications primarily. I've done chip design for companies, especially on working on smartphones and satellites. So that's my background. My co-founder, Rob Stevens, was more on the business development and sales and marketing side. He was a VP at sales and marketing at a company called Tive Systems, which is Amazon robots today, Backupify, GrabCAD, and before that at Free Markets. But like Chuck said, we need to start with not what the solution is, but what the problem that we're trying to solve. And the problem we're trying to solve is companies lose track of their goods once it leaves their warehouses or their factories. So they manufacture this amazing product, and what happens is it leaves their warehouse, which they really did a good job at keeping it there, or their factory, and suddenly they have no idea what's happening in transit. Whether there's going to be damages or delays, and this is a big problem. If you look at manufacturing, sometimes if screws are not coming, let's say, to a manufacturing site, they could be a few $1 worth of screws. You would need to shut down a manufacturing site. That could cost you $1 million an hour. There's general cargo loss. Companies lose around $50 billion a year just as general cargo loss. That excludes biopharma. Pharma companies lose $30 billion a year. They have to replace products because they've gone bad due to temperature excursions. And there's a lot of issues like that that happen while your goods are in transit. So how do we solve this? What we built is a real-time visibility of shipments across all transport modes. This is the software that we built, where customers can log in and understand exactly what's happening with their shipment, where is it, and not just where is it, but also what its condition is. What is temperature, shock, vibration. And what we provide is alerts and analysis for our customers. In addition to that, they have APIs so they can integrate with their different supply chain management tools that they're using. But how do we get all this data? The way we get all this data is we build the world's smartest tracker. This one that's in my pocket, so I guess a lot of people are pulling products from their pockets. So this thing has a really long battery life. It's cellular connected. You can put this thing anywhere in the world and actually get the data. And what customers do, they put it in their shipment and they understand where is it. But in addition to location, they also understand the condition. Temperature, humidity, air pressure that we use to understand whether it's in an airplane or not, shock, vibration. And we gather all that data and really help them on their supply chain. So today customers are paying for tracking, which is really exciting, but that lets us build this database and analysis across customer supply chains. After that, what we do, we can build on predictions for our customers, and we generate all this data to really understand how the supply chains are working and which third-party logistics providers are behaving, which are not, which trucking companies are really good, which are not. We'll be able to actually sell this data to insurance companies and banks. Why do companies need Tive? There's 3 buckets that these fall. One is really to help them reduce costs. There's companies that spend hundreds of millions of dollars today in working capital because they have products out there in the field, and they have all this product out in the field because they don't have full visibility across their supply chain. They can help in increase revenues and also improve customer service. We have shippers and freight forwarders who are constantly on the phone trying to figure out where the shipments are, and they don't need to do that. They can actually put Tive into their shipments and understand exactly where they are. So when the customer calls, customer understands where the shipment is. We also prevent crisis. This is one example that we had a shipment. A pharma company based out of France was shipping products to North America, and they had $1.5 million worth of product inside of a container. And at the port of Hamburg, they got an alert that the container was set to 0 degrees Celsius instead of 20 degrees Celsius. And they were able to call the shipper, tell them to change the temperature on the container, and the shipper was really surprised, like, how do you know we're first of all at Port of Hamburg, and how do you know that the container is wrong, set to the wrong temperature? They were able to change that temperature before it actually sailed on the, got on the ship to get to North America, and this saved them, because if you think of pharma companies, they are running on a patent, and they could have lost 6 months of revenue. We were able to save on that. And that's what we do. Thanks. Yes?
What's your current competition like, and how are you going to persevere past that?
You would think there's a lot of competition. There's been a lot of trackers around these days. I mean, you can think of GPS trackers, there's always been. But the challenge is that these GPS trackers didn't have a long battery life. And what we've done is really solved that solution. Is we've created a tracker that's cellularly operated, so you get data anywhere in the world, and it's got a long battery life. And supply chains are really complex, so that's what we're going after, complex supply chains. And you could imagine a tracker that would be plugged into a shipment, and 7 days later a battery would die out. Then this one is smart enough to, and we use the cloud also to understand what's happening. Is it in customs? Is it in a warehouse? Is it stuck for, is it going to stay there for a month or a week? And be able to prolong that battery life. So that's really what we're going after compared to some of the competitors.
There's an MIT Media Lab spin out called Source Map. Have you thought about them to kind of collaborate? You could complement their ability to map the whole kind of supply chain, because they can't go to that last mile.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look. I'm not aware of them at the moment.
What's the origin of the name?
Tive. Oh, great. We made it, our new one is short and simple, Tracking Live, but the truth is, when I made this product, I was driving around trying to come up with a 4-letter name, and I was thinking, what does this device do? And it's active, it's intuitive, it's quantitative, it's sensitive, so the last 4 letters of those words, and it came up to be Tive.
Are you concerned? I mean, I'm thinking, in this, you're relying upon the customer to hopefully send the unit back. Are you concerned that you're going to have a lot of attrition with these things disappearing when they're unpacking and at the customer site?
Very good question. We have a ton of customers right now, so what we're doing is we're focused on customers that have a good relationship with the place that they're shipping at, whether it's a distribution center or a place, just another site where they're shipping to, so they constantly retrieve these back. We have, so far, maybe we had 1% loss rate. But we're looking at solutions to make that easier too. Yeah.
What kind of challenges and how did you solve problems with connectivity when things are inside of a shipping container, buried under 10 others in the middle of the ship?
A very good question. So in the ship, we don't get any data. We just store the data. We don't get data in real time. So there's no connectivity when you're in the middle of the ocean. As far as a container, inside of a container, we don't get GPS, even though we have a GPS in there because it's like a Faraday cage a little bit, especially on that frequency, but cellular works pretty well. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe containers deep, it's fine. When you get to 20, 30 containers, if you're that unlucky and it's really at the bottom of the ship, then you might not get connectivity.
Do the devices talk to each other to make it beat?
We have Bluetooth in here, but it's to make something that talks to one another at that frequency is really difficult when it comes to containers. It's not free. Nobody asked about pricing, but it's fine. Awesome.
What's the price?
What's the price? So what we do, every customer that signs up, all the pilots are paid, and we charge them $50 a month per tracker. And they get the tracker, they get connectivity, they get the cloud platform, APIs, everything, and they can get unlimited users. And then once the pilot's done, we sign them into an annual contract. It'll be a little bit of a roost rate. Thank you.